Is that
Huh?
what is going on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sounds like an echo.
All right. Do you still hear the background noise?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Now we just have to see how long you'll stay up and running. I think I need headache medicine.
Rachel, did you want a box?
What'd you say?
I was asking Rachel if she wanted a box. Hell, it's only like 7 o'clock where she's at.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm all right. I love your content. I did not. I have to be honest. I did not like it when I first started watching it, but I didn't know Sam Adama all that well in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people too, because my content is long, but it has a lot of information and it's packed with information. And I explain, how I arrived at my opinion and why I feel the way I feel or I think the way I think. And I show a lot of information. And sometimes, people they get bored with it. And I understand. I mean, sometimes people just want a quick hit and want to run to the next thing. So, but my content is not made for that. My content is made for people to sit and watch and listen to a story and hopefully learn something in the process. So my content is more educational than the quick hits, but I do some clapbacks every once in a while.
Well,
I do get my dabs in every once in a while.
Well, I don't want you to say I thoroughly enjoy it when it's like pointing out things about Sam, but I mean overall in general, I like it. I mean, it's like if you go back to the beginning and watch it from the beginning, it's almost like it tells a story. So.
Yeah.
I know because I went back and watched it from the beginning. Trust me.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever I first got with you, I remember her profile, but like it's funny, like you don't know who. I didn't know who was who back then, and like I just remember glimpses. So it's like, oh yeah, I remember that, and then but no idea that it would be full circle.
If it were possible, for, and I'll tell you when it was, if it were possible for people to get notified when people are just watching the hell out of some of your shit, this past November, that would have been me. Because literally, I remember I was on the boat. I was sitting up in the wheelhouse, and we literally did like what we call an intimate portrayal. And we literally just, in our live, just watched every video.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But Sam back then was making videos saying Dodge and Rachel are working together now. And I'm like, literally up like what was it, about three or 4 weeks ago is when I actually first had any correspondence with you. So it was crazy that they thought that back then.
Yeah. And then I started watching some of your content, and it's like I posted a couple of videos about you because I was like, I'm not in Dodge's Live. I will never go into a Dodge's Live because I heard really bad things about you by someone that I no longer speak to, and I won't get into that issue. But that person's information didn't turn out to be so credible, and I trusted them.
Well,
so that's where those videos that I posted, that's where those videos came from that I posted.
I don't remember seeing that video back then. I did come across it the other day when I was watching. You were like, I'm not in Dodge's Lives. I got him blocked or something like that, which was probably true back then. But I've had so many accounts get banned since then. I mean, unless you're just hunting me down to block me.
No, I blocked you on your old accounts before they got taken down or taken away, or whatever you want to call it. But no, there was somebody who gave me some information about you that like I said, I trusted that person, and then several months, I guess maybe it was probably I think it was recently, it was earlier this year, where this person just didn't take my safety seriously, and I'll just leave it at that. And I take my safety very seriously, and I don't put myself in situations where I can start to be stalked and harassed by a particular individual. And I'm not talking about Sam, I'm talking about someone else.
Yeah.
And this person kind of put me in a compromising position, and I'm like, you know what, no. And they kind of knew the rules with me. It's like, I'll never tell you who you can and cannot be friends with, but also don't tell me who I can and can't be friends with. And that also includes you. You can be friends with whoever you want to be friends with, but the second my safety is at risk, I'm like, no.
Well,
I'm not playing that game. So
I don't like for people to think that I'm trying to manipulate them because I'm beefing with somebody that they dislike. Now, in the beginning, literally, when we went and watched every one of your videos, we did that to piss off Sam. Like, I mean, we literally did it in a live one day. We watched every video, but no, the reason I asked if you wanted to come up tonight is because we were talking about domestic violence, and I thought that was something you and Bear might jihad about because she was in a situation like that. We were talking about people not being able to get out. She was in a situation like that, and with a real narcissist, and all these people out here, it's almost like the word narcissist, just somebody heard it one day, it sounded cool, everybody started using it, and now all of a sudden everybody's a narcissist. If your mailman forgets to deliver your mail, he's a narcissist. If your neighbor's dog, he's in your bushes. Your neighbor and the dog are narcissists. I mean, it's just so. I mean, Bear's actually been in a situation with a real narcissist, and she'll be the first to tell you they don't want anything to do with the sumbitch, whether it's to bash them or not. That's how you know you've been with a real narcissistic person, because they thrive on.
Bear, I'm sorry you. Yeah, Bear, I'm sorry you had to go through what you went through. It's never easy leaving an abusive situation, but then when you add all of the other types of abuse. I mean, physical abuse is one thing, but the emotional abuse, psychological abuse, the financial abuse, and you add the mind games and just everything that goes on with it. It just messes with you so much, and what you endure in that process to finally get to the point where you're like, I'm done, I'm walking away. And a lot of times victims leave, honestly, until they hate the other person. And that's usually when they leave. It takes 7 tries and they finally leave, But Bear, congratulations on leaving and getting out of that situation. I'm proud of you for leaving that.
Well, thank you. I don't like, it's one of those things. I count everything as a learning experience, and I wouldn't be the person I am now if I didn't go through those events. So I count myself as a very strong-willed woman, and I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't go through the things that I did. So yeah, it all makes up the makeup. So
it's very true.
Push it on anybody, but
I don't know enough about her situation. She doesn't talk about it enough for me to even know the details. But I don't necessarily think it was a physically abusive situation. I think it was more just emotionally and financially. But don't quote me on that. She don't talk about it a lot. That's just it. I mean, she don't talk about it. I mean, that's how little she wants to do with the summit. So
yeah. Well, and
it's one of those things. I gave him all the energy that I wanted to give him, and that's like, once I'm done, and I talking about it and dwelling or even like thinking about it is just energy that I don't want to give it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he got enough energy from me that, he didn't deserve. So,
yeah. Well, every survivor of abuse is different. Some like to talk about it, some don't like to talk about it. My mom was a domestic violence survivor. She left my biological father after he strangled her when she was pregnant with me. She lost consciousness, and she woke up and she saw him huddled in the corner crying, thinking that he thought he had killed my mom. And she came to. He came to, and they went to bed and said, my mom just said, look, don't worry about it. Just forget about it. They woke up the next morning. They went to work. He went one way. My mom said she was going to work, but she went around the block, came home, called her sister, said, grab daddy's truck, bring it over here. I'm out of here. She grabbed trash bags and just started hucking stuff in the trash bags and got out and never went back. And that's, and the statistics, they didn't know this back then, but statistically, if a victim stays in a relationship after she's been strangled by her partner, she has a 700% chance of being unalived.
Yeah.
And that's how much it increases. And so I'm very proud of my mom for getting out and doing what she did. They didn't have help back then. There was no hotline number to call. There was nothing to call. So I've always had that, on my heart. Ever since I was born. My mom never kept anything from me. She obviously told me things at the right ages. She never, dumped on me at the wrong age to where I would be traumatized. But she let me know throughout the years, kind of what happened. And as an adult, I obviously understand that a lot better. My situation, it started off like really minor, and then it escalated into physical. So obviously, he was never arrested or never charged with anything, because it can be very difficult to prove these types of cases. So, but yeah, it's a tough situation. Once I started learning about abuse, I started realizing that it wasn't just one relationship. I had been in several abusive relationships that I just didn't recognize it as abuse at the time, and I do now. And that's pretty much why I do what I do, and I help other survivors get out and help them, understand and look for the blind spots that I personally didn't see, exactly, and help them to see those as much as we can. And that's one of the reasons why I help with legislation. And I'm happy because one of the legislation pieces of legislation that I've been supporting in California passed the Senate. Now it just needs to pass the House. And then there's another bill too that is a bill for small businesses that's sitting in California. And people would think that, well, how does that affect domestic violence victims? Well, actually it does, because if you, it's basically the Cartwright Act violations. What's happening in California is that they're allowing big companies to gobble up smaller companies. And when you do that, you have less competition. With less competition, then that's less opportunities for victims to start up their own businesses and get out of abusive situations. So that's a problem too. So I've been kind of hounding on this bill to try to get it through. We don't think that Newsom is going to sign the bill because he's not very pro small business. So I'm going to have to fight a little bit more with this one and send off and fire off some letters to his office. Hopefully it works. So I just know that the other bill that I'm helping get through right now, it passed. Like I said, it passed the Senate. I had contacted the legislature who's putting that one through, and they wanted me to go to Sacramento to tell my story, but unfortunately I wasn't available that day. But from what I understand, they read my letter to the legislatures at the hearing. And this bill actually was put up early last year, and it died on the vine. They put it up again this year, and now she's armed with, my story and several other stories that she went to the Hill, and I shouldn't say to the Hill, she went to Sacramento and fought for us. So hopefully this time it'll go through. So I can tell you guys more. I'll tell you guys more about it later when it gets through. I don't like talking about it too much because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you don't want to
Yeah. So there's there's lots of bills and stuff I'm working on. I'm still kind of working through some of them. I sometimes I get involved with other states legislatures. If it's really bad, I'll get involved. But for the most part, I try to stay in California because I have more pull in California because I'm a voter. So I've got more, my voice is louder here than it is in another state.
Yeah.
So, but I do get loud in other states if I have to. But for the most part, I stick to California. Like I said, if there's, like there's something going on in Oregon right now that I'm helping someone with on TikTok. But like I said, it's just, and it's just right now, it's just me. I've had volunteers in the past, but right now it's just me. So there's only so much I can do with so many hours in the day. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to take over. I didn't mean to take over your live, Dodge. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I got two questions. One, you were talking about your mom earlier, and then you were talking about you were in a situation. Do you believe the hype, like if you're a child in that situation, you're going to grow up to make the same mistakes that your parent made, or that you're like it's hereditary? Like,
there's the thing is that there's studies on both ends of that argument that are viable studies. And I think it just really depends. And, I've had this conversation with my therapist, with all of my therapists that I've had. I've also talked with, other people in this space about this, because I thought about that. I thought, how is it that I became susceptible to this, knowing what my mom taught me? And there was a study, what I understand from my therapist, I don't remember the exact study, I'd have to go look it up, but there was a study where they did like, I don't remember if it was like the DNA sample, if it was something, it was some kind of study that showed that that women who were abused while they were pregnant, that adrenaline that went through their system when they were pregnant got passed on to their child. The fear, the fight, flight, trauma responses, it's either fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Those responses got passed through to their children. And so, but there's also studies that say, well, there are, people who have had happen to that they didn't go on to either abuse or to be abused. So there's an argument for both sides of it, and I think it just really depends on the situation, and just depends on what it is. And my problem is that what happened to me wasn't exactly like what happened to my mom. It was very different. Mine escalated mine went really slow, where my mom's escalated really fast. Like, she was friends with him first, and then the second she got married to him, she was property, and it just got bad, and then it's like she was just done. But with the person I was dating, it moved really, really slow. And so I didn't recognize it, because it didn't look like what happened to my mom, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So they say the normal lasts for about a year, and then the real person kicks in. So you don't see it right away.
This next question is more or less, I guess, a question and a statement of my impression. In the beginning, when you were first mentioned by people over here, they gave me the impression that you were just out there defending men who had been wrongfully accused of shit. Like you were the bad guy because you, in some instances, you had argued for men they were saying that were abusive. But after sitting and listening to these people for a year, like, it's more like they're literally out here just calling anybody and everybody a predator, for anything. And it's really irresponsible, because this guy's out here maybe messaging another woman while he's married, and you're out here calling him a predator. How long is it going to be before people hear the term predator and think, oh, well, maybe he's just doing something like that? Like, you're using too harsh of a term for somebody that really hadn't done anything that would be considered predatory. So nobody's going to take it seriously when you call somebody else a predator. And then, actually, yeah, that's basically it. That's the impression I got. And then the question that I had was that just all it was, like with you and Sam, and was it just they're out there pretending to be advocates, but they're not actually advocates?
No.
I mean,
they're not advocates. They're not advocates, even though they, in the early years, Sam's actually been harassing victims and survivors since 2020. I've got documentation for that. And she's been doing this for a long time, just going after people. And, that's not advocacy, number one. Number two, it's not even activism. And I wouldn't even say that they're being that she's an agitator. Like if you look, there's an article. If you go to, it's not really an article. It's actually a white paper that I posted on my nonprofits page, nopeacenoquiet.org. It's under the programs page under the public education. There's a document that talks about the Bill Moyer action plan, which talks about how advocacy and activism combined and how they work together to make systemic changes with between laws and educating the public, and it ties all the dynamics together. And when you look at all of the different components of that, they don't fit anywhere into that component. And it's just interesting. Like if they read it, they would probably say, oh well, I fit into the rebel bucket. No, they actually don't. Just because of what they do. They're just very socially irresponsible with the things that they say and things that they do. They have these rules and they understand the dynamics of abuse, but they selectively apply it to people whom they choose that they feel is worthy of being quote a survivor, of holding that title of a survivor, when the reality is that nobody knows anybody's situation. Nobody was there. I mean, the only people that understand the abuse dynamics are the people that are in the relationship behind the closed doors. Unless somebody actually walks in and sees it and witnesses it, which is extremely rare. It's the he said she said law. It always comes down to that. And it's, yeah, I've taken a lot of classes. I've taken a lot of courses. I've also taken a course that a lot of the police officers take, where you can learn how to tell if somebody's lying about what's happening. And I can tell you that process is a very lengthy process to see if somebody's actually lying about what happened to them. Like there's lots of boxes that somebody has to check, and it can take years to determine whether or not if somebody was lying about what they said. And how these people come on here and they determine in 30 seconds that somebody's lying, or they determine that somebody's lying because they have shifty eyes, or in Sam's case, she said in the beginning that I came across like a Stepford wife. And you can't tell by a couple of minutes on a video what somebody's going through, what somebody's gone through, or what's happening in their life or what they've been through. I mean, you can't tell. And the fact that they hold themselves out as these experts, and a lot of people believe them, and it's scary. It's really, really scary that there's a lot of people that actually believe, the things that they say. And it's hard, and I understand too that in the beginning, sometimes people don't understand. They listen to the person who's the loudest one in the room, but often the loudest person in the room is wrong. But that's just my experience. I'll be 55 later on this year. I mean, I think that just comes with experience. That with age comes the experience, comes the knowledge. But yeah, I mean, that's just. Hopefully, I think I answered your question in a very long-winded way. I apologize. I tend to.
You don't trust me. I love long. I mean, not so much long-winded, but I love long answers because it gives me a break from speaking. Good God, I talk way too much. But a lot of times when somebody's speaking, I don't know why. If I could look you dead in your face and not hear a word you said. So normally, most of the time, if I'm doing this, like that's the only way I'm I'm. You'll see me do this. I'm writing shit down. Like you said, no peace, no quiet, and then you said programs, and I have to like constantly be like this and writing shit down, or that's just how I retain information. But you were talking about the programs. Is that a California thing, or is that like
No,
in your state,
that's
or is that a
actually
website?
that's actually my website, and it's the service. The programs are actually nationwide, so it's not just for California.
Okay.
So there's a lot of educational content in there that talks about, how survivors get taken advantage of on social media, how basically these charlatans can come in and pretend to be coaches and advocates and allies, but they're really not. So it gives them tips and pointers on what to look for, what it feels like, what it looks like. There's like little checklists that they can go through and make an assessment. And essentially what advocacy comes down to is it doesn't come down to, forcing a victim or a survivor to leave a situation. um, what an advocate does is they provide information to a victim who contacts them. They say, hey, look, I think I'm in an abusive situation. I need some help. Do you have some resources? You can help get them a plan. If they agree to doing a risk assessment, you can do a risk assessment to determine whether or not if they have a medium risk, a low risk, medium risk, or a high risk. And depending on that risk assessment, you give them different resources for the different situations. But it's a very long process, and it's not something that should be posted on social media. You should never talk about somebody else's story unless they're talking about their story and they've given you permission to talk about their story, because a lot of times people get it wrong. And because they don't like somebody, then they'll go dragging somebody across social media just because they don't like somebody. Unless you were involved in that situation, you kind of really don't. I mean, I don't want to say you don't have an opinion, but I mean, what is your opinion really worth if you didn't witness it actually happening or you weren't a part of it? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I take a lot of it with a grain of salt. It's been happening for decades. Women have endured this for years. I should say probably hundreds of years. But this has been going on for a long time, and we're getting better as society goes on, but we still have issues and things that we need to focus on, and things that we need to do better at. I mean, even I've made mistakes along the way where I catch myself and I course correct, and I try to learn from experiences when I've made mistakes or I've misspoke or I've misstepped. But it is, it's a learning process, and you learn every day as an advocate. But your advocacy should be helping them get resources. You don't tell their story for them. You don't take away their anonymity. You help get them to a point to where they can leave safely. And if they want to go public and tell their story, you just make sure that they are armed with information to protect themselves if they do go public with their story. And they understand the implications, there could be legal implications, there could be social implications, and you just try to arm them as much as you possibly can. And that's really what an advocate is supposed to do. An activist is somebody who's a little bit more loud. They push legislation, they bring public awareness to things, and they're more in the public eye. But they also keep in mind too that there is that advocacy piece of it, and there is a privacy piece of it that you do need to be careful of, and you need to be cognizant of that when you get into when you step into the area. So, but what these people do, Dodge, there is no word for it. There is no terminology. It doesn't fit into any kind of social movement of any kind. It just doesn't fit anywhere.
I wish there were a word for it. I may have to like come up with a word for it, but I witnessed this conversation. I became a part of this conversation, and then recently I went back and watched this conversation again, and I asked this wannabe advocate this question. I said, or I made the statement. I said she didn't want your help. And in fact asked you to stop. And she's like, no, that's not true. She's lying. She reached out to us. She wanted our help. And I'm like, no, you basically called her up, told her her husband was cheating on her, and all she did was say, show me the proof. At that point, after you showed her the proof, your work here is done. She didn't need your help. But this woman literally was taking it like this person asking for proof was her enlisting her for help. And that's why when you said that, I wrote it down. Like, I mean, they contact you and they want your help. I mean, at that point, you're an advocate for them. Okay. If they contacted you, they want your help. Okay. But if you're reaching out to them, I mean, you're not, you're fishing, you're not really advocating, but I mean, I know. And I asked the women in my group this, I said, if somebody contacted you and said, hey, your husband's cheating on you, would you want to see the proof? Of course. Yeah. Show me the proof. But at that point, most women, oh, I got it from here, I mean, they take care of themselves. And that's just what I've noticed. And it really irritated me that day because this person made the comment. She said, well, you know what? If you don't want to be a victim, I'll make you a victim or whatever. You're not going to do this and you're not going to do that. And I'm like, I was really irritated by it because at that point, you're not an advocate, you're not a life coach, I don't know what, like I said, I mean, I'll be glad when they do come up with a word for it because there's a lot of them out there. So.
Yeah, there's, like I said, I mean, you can't even call them an agitator because an agitator is somebody like Jolly Good Ginger. He's an agitator.
Wow, I've known that name.
Yeah, Jolly Good Ginger. If you look him up, he's definitely an agitator. He's the one who gets in there, and I mean, he's part of that wheel of kind of pushing through legislation, but he's kind of on the fringe end of it, if you will. He's like on the far edges of it, where it's useful, but only in certain circumstances that type of anarchy
Rachel, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because my daughter has friends and like some of them go through some things. Like, is there a place that you would refer? I know this is probably not a blanket statement for every state, but like, where would you tell them to go first, like for resources and stuff? Like, where is there a good place to start that's kind of a blanket answer?
Yeah, so the best place to start is if you think something's going on, is you can go online and you can look for resources with the domestic violence shelter, but you also have to be aware too that a lot of times abusers monitor your social media interactions. They monitor your phone. They monitor what you do. So if they've got access to your phone, that can pose, a safety risk of you looking that up. If they monitor your computer, that can also pose a risk. So the best thing that you can do in those cases is, maybe find out where a domestic violence shelter is, or find out where you can go to talk to a local nonprofit organization to get in contact with a community advocate. It's always important to find a community certified advocate. And there's a difference between a community advocate and a systems advocate. So the main difference between these two types of advocates is a systems advocate, which
What happened?
Police department, and you file you ask them to file charges against somebody who's abused you, and they assign you a system advocate. That system advocate is responsible for anything that you tell them. They have to go back and tell the police what you said. So anything and all the conversations that you have with that advocate are not considered confidential conversations. Like, that system advocate has to go tell the police what you said during the conversations. Now, a community-based advocate, which again is what I am, we primarily work for nonprofit organizations. A community-based advocate whatever a survivor tells, or whatever a victim or survivor tells that community-based advocate, it is confidential. Like if the police want to get a hold of that information, or if their abuser wants to, get a hold of that information, they have to subpoena that community-based advocate. And the majority of community-based advocates, again, that's what I am, we don't keep track of those phone calls. We don't record them. We tell survivors, do not record this call. Do not tell anybody. If you do record this call, if you write it down, make sure that you put it in a place where it cannot be found. And if you take notes, again, write it in a place where it cannot be found. If you've got a friend that you can give that notebook to and you can hide it, or you can get access to it very easily where they can't find it, that's going to be your best bet. But to make a long-winded answer short, the best place that I always tell people to start, honestly, is try a local nonprofit first and see if you can get a hold of a community-based advocate, because they're going to know the local places that person can go to get help and get support to get out and get safe, or to get the education that they need, or to go to group meetings if they need that to help them get out and help them get out safely. So hopefully, did that answer your question, Bear? I'm sorry. Again, it was very long-winded, a lot of information.
Absolutely. So the best thing, you can Google community-based advocacy.
Yes.
And that would probably bring that up.
Yeah. Okay. But be very careful with, again, if the abusers don't have access to the internet, to your internet, they can't get access to your computer or your phone, then you're probably safe to do that.
Well, my daughter is a really good friend, and she likes to help her friends as much as she can. And it would be something where
that's what I was about to ask,
or use her phone to do it.
That's what I was about to ask about Lily. What is the situation with her?
She's in a rough situation with her baby daddy. So I mean, it's being taken care of, and she's getting. I mean, it was just.
And then I had another question for Rachel. What are your credentials? Because I mean, out of all of the people on here like advocating, I mean, you're the only one I've seen any actual proof of actual credentials and shit. So what does it take to be an advocate legally? And what, there's different types. I mean, you've got, of course, you got DVB, you got special advocates for people with special needs and disabilities, and then you got DVB, and you've got all that good stuff. So what is your field of expertise?
Well, my field of expertise is domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. So that's the area in which I study and I take classes for. So I've got 2 different certifications. The first certification that I have is victim advocacy, and that is with San Diego State, the University of San Diego State. I can't even pronounce it right now. San Diego State University. And that information can actually be found on my LinkedIn page. So if you go to Rachel DePalma on LinkedIn, you can actually find it there. You can find the letter that proves that I do have the certification with them. It also connects you with the link on the school that I went to and tells you everything that I studied within that course. So once I received that certification it wasn't San Diego State. San Diego State is my coaching one. The certification one is from the University of San Marcos, California. That's the one for victim advocacy. Then the second one that I actually have a second certification in the space for domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. And that one is with the NACP, and that's a voluntary certification. So that's not required. It's something that's voluntary. And that certification comes with a whole slew of ethical obligations that are renewed every 2 years. And I have to take continuing education classes to keep it. I have to take 35 hours every 2 years. I have to take new courses and new classes to stay up on the topic, and I have to pass all those courses. So,
what was that one? What was the last one?
I have to. The last one was the NACP.
Yeah, what is that?
It's the National Advocate Credentialing Program.
Okay, that's something
And
you don't
can
have to
again
take.
I don't have to have that, but that's an extra layer of certification that holds me to a higher ethical standard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so DV, San Marcos, the coaching with San Diego, sexual assault and stalking and harassment falls under the NACP?
Yes.
Well, okay. All right.
And then the one with San Diego State, that one is actually a coaching certification. So that's for career coaching and life coaching. And then I have another certificate for International Association of Professional Recovery Coaches. So that one deals more with recovery, with trauma and stuff that happens in life. So just in
All right.
general.
Now, how many YouTube videos?
There are some YouTube videos that are good. Like there's some people that you can follow that are good, that give good information, but I never really recommend victims and survivors of abuse to go too much to YouTube. I usually recommend for them to go to therapists that are trauma informed. I try to help them find a therapist that's trauma informed so they can get that first.
I love the fact that you could
and then
literally see past my resting bitch face when I made that joke.
So YouTube has good things and bad things, but again, when I'm helping a
sure.
victim or a survivor find resources, I really don't use a lot of stuff on social media. Like there's only a handful of narc talk creators that I will send people to, and those are people that I trust. I know that they're certified because I validated their certifications. I know that they don't post content that's harmful. I know that they're not sitting in lives yelling at survivors, calling them liars. I know that they don't do these things. They don't behave that way. And they're very, they've written a ton of articles. They've been peer reviewed. I mean, they are good people. There are some really good people. But again, I always keep that list very close to my chest because I don't want people to feel bad that I don't recommend them, and I don't want them, you know what I mean? I just don't want people to feel bad because there's just a certain level of comfort that I have with these particular people. And the comfort comes from the research that I've done on them, that I know that if I send someone to them, they're not going to be harmed, and they're not going to, come back and say, oh my God, this person drugged me across social media. They plastered all my court content all over social media and harassed me for it. I know that these people are not going to do that to them. So
I've self-diagnosed myself a long time ago based on what other people would say about me. I mean, when the term narcissist first came out, I thought it was, like I said, just some word that people picked up they liked and they used it constantly. But I always assumed that I was a narcissist based on everybody, a lot of people that I encounter calling me a narcissist. So when I first got with Bear, I was always calling myself a narcissist. And one day, we were talking to somebody in a live, and they were like, it wasn't Bear, but it was somebody else. And they're like, no, you're not a narcissist. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure and we all are to some degree. But I asked Bear, I said, how does it feel to be with the most unnarcissistic narcissist that you've ever been with? And she's like, oh, you are not a fucking narcissist. So I've had to self-evaluate again because I always just assumed I was a narcissist. And, I mean, hey, don't blame me. I'm a narcissist.
There are tendencies that run a lot of people have, and you can be confident and give off a narcissistic vibe, and that's just
Yeah,
well,
you just named it, but you just named an entire generation called Gen X.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can give off certain attributes, and it becomes a narcissistic vibe. But
I'm confident.
It takes a lot for that.
I've got narcissistic tendencies. I'm a Leo and I'm a Josh. So I mean, there's a diagnosis in there somewhere. I mean, and it's probably text fucking book, but like literally until I got with.
I'm a Scorpio, Dodge. So I'm a Scorpio. I've got 3 major Scorpio placements. And when you look up narcissism and you try to attach it to astrology, they've got some pretty nasty things to say about Scorpios. But the truth is that, you know, it just really depends. I mean, it's always fun. I love posting stuff about astrological signs, and some of it's true and some of it's not. I take a lot of it with a grain of salt, but it is something fun to listen to. But I haven't really been watching your content enough, and I can't diagnose people. So it's not something that I would diagnose you with. I wouldn't say that you have it because I'm not a therapist. I can't tell you that you have it. All I can tell you is exactly what Bear just said, is that everybody has some narcissistic tendencies. I have them. But the one thing that my therapist told me about it was that, because I went down the list and I said, I've got this, this, and this. I named 3 things on the list, and he goes, you are nowhere near being a narcissist. The fact that you can recognize your own behavior in that list, you are not a narcissist because you recognize your own behavior.
Yeah, a narcissist usually won't call themselves a narcissist, or even try and figure out that they are or aren't one, because they are so self-oblivious to their own problems that they will mask it over, and that's number one tell sign that you're not.
I was prescribed.
And I'm a Libra, by the way, so I have to weigh everything out.
I was
my.
Go ahead. I'm hearing an echo.
I was just saying, I absolutely absolutely love Libras. So
okay, so I was in 2012. I was diagnosed as an angry person, not by a doctor, but by a judge, and I was sentenced to anger management classes. Now, I worked offshore, and all it was I got into a fight at a bar. I mean, a guy literally did something that I mean, anyway, that's all it was I mean, he was dragging this woman by the hair of her head. He was in the wrong, and I wound up getting into a fight, and I was sentenced to anger management classes. Now, I worked offshore, and I didn't want, first of all, I didn't want to go to what they assigned you. You know, they make you go to these meetings. I didn't want to be in there with a bunch of weird ass people. So I hired a shrink, and they told me I could do that. Just hire a psychiatrist to do and I did that. I went outside and I hired my own, and he gave me a test to take, and I thought it was stupid at the time, but he gave me this long ass test. It was so many fucking questions. And then we did a little interview, and afterwards, excuse me, he told me, he said, you're just not an angry person, are you? And I said, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, they sent me to you. And he's like, well, I'm not, you don't seem to be a very angry person. And I said, well, I'm not. I mean, the dude literally, I mean, he needed his ass whooped. I mean, he wasn't my child, but I mean, you grow up. I mean, if you punish your child, I mean, my dad whooped my ass all the time, and I needed it every time. I mean, I just looked at it like that. That dude needs his ass whooped. And afterwards, after he diagnosed me as not being an angry person, he's like, okay, look, you just, every time you get off the boat, just come meet up with me or whatever. We'll hang out. We'll go have some beers or something. We'll call that your anger management classes. That was literally my anger management classes. And so I mean, I feel like he was right in his diagnosis, and not because, he told me what I wanted to hear, but I've never thought I was an angry person, but I'm not the person to diagnose myself. I mean, I'm not the person to do anything with myself. I mean, I'm very self-aware, but at the same time, like diagnosing my problems, I just can't do it. I would love for somebody else to be able to, but so far I haven't found anybody that can do it accurately. So maybe I am a narcissist. I don't know.
Well, self-awareness comes in in different ways, and it manifests and it manifests differently. I think some of the biggest things is just, being aware of how your behavior affects others, and that's the biggest thing, is just being aware of how it affects others and trying to do better, so that you leave the world in a better place than when you got here. Go back to the Bible, Dodge. I know that you're big on religion. The Bible is going to tell you exactly what you need to do, and it's going to guide you through what you need to be guided through. It's going to help you understand life. And I know everybody's not big on religion, but if you just stick to that, and just stick to being a good person, and just try to be a better person than you were the day before. That's all really anybody can ask. Just do your best every day, and even if you take 5 steps forward and 2 steps back, you're still 3 steps ahead than you were before. So,
It's funny. I just told somebody that this afternoon. I mean, she kept saying left over right, left over right. I'm like, you could put every foot forward, left over right, and you're still walking backwards, darling. Here, but they say, and this is the truth, and I challenge anybody to do this with the New Testament, not the Old Testament, because there's some crazy shit in the Old Testament. But I challenge anybody to do this. It doesn't matter what you're going through in your life. You get you a New Testament, just like one of the ones they give you for free, get a New Testament, open it up, close your eyes, and just pick a chapter. And I guarantee you, whatever you read will relate to whatever you were going through. The Bible's weird like that. But,
yeah. I mean, I can't, quote Bible verses, but there are times where, I look up stuff. I'm like, I need some help getting through some of this, and I need some words of wisdom.
Well,
I'll go search for the information.
Rainbow Bibles are good. I don't know if you ever heard of a Rainbow Bible, but they're color coded in like whatever you want to look up. So if you want to look up things about love or anger, or like, it colorizes the Bible in those type of things to where you can easily access those situations. Just
a lot of times what I do, see now, Dodge, you'll appreciate this. A lot of times what I'll do is, when I'm looking for kind of a pick me up in that spiritual realm, is that I'll go to YouTube and I will go look for sermons. I do like YouTube for that.
Well, I mean, YouTube, they say, somebody just said it today, if nothing else, I mean, Google's free, but I mean, there's so much that you can learn from YouTube. I was like helping my brother. He had his own little construction business, and we were taking a lunch break. I was just helping him while I was home from offshore, and he's like, "Hey, go watch this video while we're eating lunch or whatever." And like, I looked over, he's watching the same video, and I'm like, "Have you ever done this before?" He's like, "Nope, that's why we're watching the video." Dude made a damn small business out of learning to do shit, watching YouTube videos and stuff. And I think all we were doing was laying some ceramic tile. But I mean, there's everything. I mean, and I'm not saying there's nothing on YouTube that's helpful, because that's just not the case. But I mean, to say that you are an expert, or you have developed your expertise based off of YouTube videos and just books you read, that's why I asked you about your credentials and stuff, because I'm sorry. I mean, you gotta have some education. You gotta have some textbook education, hands-on. I mean, I feel like to be a good advocate, it's going to be a combination of everything. Whether you're in therapy, I mean, getting advice from a therapist, I mean, going to school for it, I mean, taking classes, whether it's online classes or at school, I mean, all of that combined is what makes you, an expert in the field. I mean, just saying, oh, I've read some books and YouTube's got some good videos. Yeah, not so much. I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So that's why I asked about it. I'm not a expert in anything other than what I do for a living, which is being a boat captain. But I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, most of this shit is just common sense, you know? I mean, if you touch the stove and it's hot, don't touch the stove anymore, you know? It's just it's common sense. My grandmother, she had, I think, maybe a 6th grade education, and at one time they were trying to have her committed. And she went and saw a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist came out of his office and told my family, if that woman had book sense, what she has common sense, she would be president. I mean, she's just so. I mean, common sense is a
common sense is not a flower that grows in everyone's garden.
No, it is not. But it just seems like it's lacking all over the place, especially online and social media. So it's not shocking that this is maybe the 3rd account that I've named common sense.
Yeah. Now with books, you know, I do have, you know, a lot of books that I do recommend to survivors. None of which, by the way, are the 48 Laws of Power.
You know, look, okay, so Sam tried to quote. She quoted one of the laws of power to me one day, and she quoted it word for word the way it was written. I don't even remember what the law was, but it said when dealing with your victim. Like, and it's not talking about advocating, it's like you're on the attack. It called the person your victim, and I'm like, you don't think that's strange that the person is literally referring to the person as their victim, like you're about to victimize them. So I don't even know what book that came from or whether it was a book called The Laws of Power, but I mean,
yeah, I know there is actually a book that's called The 48 Laws of Power that Sam uses. It's basically a book on how to manipulate people.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
That I think there's some expertise there. I mean, maybe that book did her some. She got her.
She is very good at manipulation. She teacup. She might have got a phone call. Good evening, Michelle. How are you? I haven't even been paying attention to the chat.
Are you looking at your phone?
Am I looking at my phone?
Yeah, because I noticed like it's weird. Or where's your camera at?
Right there.
Okay. Yeah. So Sam called herself a practitioner of the 48 Laws of Power. Well, there's no such thing really as like a practitioner. It sounds important, but all it means is that she practices the 48 Laws of Power. I mean, it doesn't, but there isn't like a certification for that. There isn't like a class that you can go to become, you know, proficient in Laws of Power. I mean, it's a book that was banned in multiple prisons because it's so effective on how to manipulate people. And it's just not a book on healing. Now, I agree that survivors absolutely need to arm themselves and understand the concept of the 48 Laws of Power and understand how those dynamics work. My issue is that it's the timing of introducing that book. The survivor needs to get through a lot of the therapy. They need to work through their anger issues. They have to work through those stages of grief. Then it's okay to say, okay, well, you know, here's the 48 Laws of Power, you know, that you can learn more about abuse. Because if you introduce it at the wrong time, when the survivor is angry, you're basically going to teach the survivor on how to be a bigger asshole than the person who abused them. And that's all that book does. And it's just, even the author of the book says this is not a book on healing. I don't know if he's quite said it in those terms, but that's basically, you know, he has said something similar. So
I agree with what Bear said. It's basically a how-to book for a manipulator. And here's the thing. That's one thing that Sam is good at. She is very good at manipulation. I mean, but I look at Sam's skills in manipulation like playing pool. You know, I mean, you if you I've been playing pool since I was like 12 years old, and I'm really good at pool. Okay, but I mean, some nights you're on your game and some nights you're not. Some nights I'll play and people will think I'm Earl Strickland himself. I mean, I'm just that good. Other nights, not so much. And yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, maybe. Yesterday, I'm not sure. She played a really good game with East, and I give credit where it's due as far as the manipulation's concerned. But
Well, I guess to take them on and use them against people in some sense.
yeah, well, I think it's I don't know. I've never had a desire to read the book, but we might go over it tomorrow just for shits and giggles. Uh, I'm to tell you the truth, I can't believe you're still awake for this conversation. I thought I was going to have to tell Rachel, hey, if she starts snoring, it's not you. She's normally asleep by now. So.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, Wash.
Well, I do have.
Are you having technical
While she's
difficulties? I need
when
to.
when you get fix your reverb.
What's wrong with my reverb?
Just you got a lot of it.
Like,
You're a little robot-y.
hold on. It could be my connection. I've only got like 2 bars. Has anything changed with the router? Let me turn it off. Turn it back on. What's it sound like now?
It's better.
It is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe it's the voice mod app that's messing
Yeah,
up.
it probably is.
Okay. You were about to say you had something, Rachel. I think she's having issues. Explanipulators. I like it. Explanipulator. Oh, I said it. Explanipulators. It sounds like a. It sounds like a dinosaur that is now extinct. Explanipulators. The Explanipulosaurus, known for its big beak, huge forehead, loud mouth. Anyway, what were you about to say? You said you've got something. We were talking about the laws of power. Or you had something.
Cheesy cuts every time you ask her that question.
Oreo Cookie Monster. Inmate Jeremiah Jackson stabbed Mobile County Corrections Officer Tyler Sims in the chest. I don't know.
What happened?
I don't even know why I'm seeing that. It says Mobile County jail inmate assaulted officer with improvised weapon. It says October 31st, 2025. That was like literally last year. But it just popped up on my screen as an update.
Maybe the guy's loose or something.
Rachel, is your service nervous?
Is my what?
Is your service nervous? You keep teacupping.
I don't know what that means.
like if you answer a text message or a phone call, your live box goes into a teacup setting to where.
Oh, you know what? No, I was going to the list of my books. That's why.
I was about to say. I mean, I'm like just now
Well, we
when you were
can't hear you
speaking.
when you do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But
You're
you
good.
can hear us, so you probably thought you were still in here. But like literally, just when you came back in and you started speaking, I'm like, who the hell is that? You didn't even sound like yourself. It's like somebody's done
Oh.
hacked Richie.
Oh no, sorry about that.
Yeah,
I'm
if you
go ahead.
if you minus out to go look for something in your phone, you can still hear us talking, but it teacups you, so we don't hear you.
Oh,
We
okay. I'm
can't
so
hear you.
sorry.
Yeah, you
So
got
it was
that.
like every time we would ask you a question, you would go to look, and we couldn't hear you answer it. So it was like, does she not like that question?
No, I'm so sorry. No, I have a link in my bio for the books that I typically recommend to victims and survivors of abuse. These are books that I've read. These are books that were recommended to me by therapists, and also books that I kind of found on my own that I also provided to therapists that they recommended to their other clients and patients. So, but it is a good list of books. It's 6 books. And they're all very helpful, very useful. I got something out of each one of those books, and it's like I said, it's useful. Trauma Bonding by J.B. Snow.
Hold on. All right.
The next one is Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. Beattie.
Oh, okay.
The next one is The Gift of Fear by Gavin D. Becker. Let me know when you're ready for the next one.
Go ahead.
The next one is Whole Again, HOLE, again, AGAIN, by Jackson McKenzie.
Go ahead.
The next one is Splitting, SPLITTING, by Bill Eddy, EDDY. And The Art of Letting Go by Nick Trenton. Those are the top 6 books that I recommend for survivors.
Hold on. Could you name them off one more time for me? Just the title.
First one is Trauma Bonding, Codependent No More, The Gift of Fear, Whole Again, Splitting, and The Art of Letting Go.
Thank you. Anybody that knows me or follows any of my content know what I'm going to do with that little 20-second clip.
But those books are they are helpful, and like I said, I've gotten a lot out of those books, and there's there's a lot to be said with those books, and a lot of people who've been through trauma, gone through therapy. They're familiar with at least one of those books.
So now that I know Bear's probably getting sleepy and she's got to go to bed. I would the only thing that I would actually attribute her staying awake to right now is the subject that we're speaking about, and how interesting.
What time is it where you guys are right now?
It's
What time is it right now?
It's almost midnight here.
Yeah, you guys got to get to bed, man.
Well, I mean, well, I work at night, but she does work tomorrow. But I wanted to be petty now that we've gotten all the serious shit out of the way. There was something I wanted to be petty about. Uh, well, I wanted to point this out. I mean, because Sam loves to talk about y'all's court case, and I don't think she understands the concept of winning in regards to y'all's court case. Because I was having a conversation with her one day, and she was like, "Yeah, I spent $70,000 on my attorneys," and then she went on to tell me that she got like 6,000 back, and then went on to tell me that she had to split that $6,000 with other people. And then she went on to tell me that, ha ha, Rachel Obama had to spend like 300K. And I'm like, literally, well, thank you so much for the content. You basically just admitted that you were caused to spend 70K on a lawyer. Not only that, you didn't get a return. I mean, you claim to have gone to school for business. That's not a good return. I mean, $6,000 split four ways after spending 70K. I mean, you basically broke your bank. And the only thing you can say to that is, well, she had to spend 300K. You basically just told me she had 300K to spend. You're not helping yourself. So
yeah, I did not spend 300K.
yeah. Well, I'm sure she thought it was an insult to you at the time, but I'm like, you're not helping your case at all. I mean, especially when you had to like put out a tip jar to cover your non-existent, you know, expenses. And
Yeah.
And I loved
Well,
that.
she
I
keeps.
loved that document. The one that I loved everything about that video. I'm so glad you shared that video with me.
Well, what's interesting is that she keeps running around telling everybody that I'm broke, and I'm broke, and she doesn't know anything about my finances. She was only given copies of my my W-2s that were filed with the IRS. She wasn't giving my financial records, so she
Well,
keeps telling everybody that I'm broke. But the thing is like when you really look at it, it's like I've never put up a GoFundMe asking people for money to be reimbursed for my attorney's fees.
well,
I've never put up a tip jar asking for people for money for that either. So it's like, how are you getting that out of this? But again, I'm not going to talk about my finances on here because it's just not appropriate to do. But
I was about to
it cracks
say,
me up whenever she does that because I'm like, what? In what universe does that make any sense?
I was about to say, I mean, with her, everybody's broke. Like, that's her go to insult. What's your credit score? What the fuck does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I mean, it's weird. Her jabs aren't really jabs. Her jabs, I don't think she realizes this, but the jabs that she tries to make towards people actually make people like her less because most of the population out there on TikTok, they're just average people. Some of them are literally trying to make a living on this app. But when you make jabs at certain people in certain situations, you have to understand there's probably thousands of people that might be watching that can relate to the person that you're making jabs at, not to you.
Yep.
So
Exactly. And you're exactly right. I mean, that's the biggest concern that I have with her conduct is that, I've got a really good support system. So it's just like, you're hurting people that didn't do anything to you or didn't respond to any of your nonsense and, react to what you did. So it's like you're hurting innocent people by making these statements because with me, I'm sitting over here and I'm laughing at her and I'm showing her videos to like my friends and my family and we all just sit and laugh at her because it's like what is she talking about? And she just never makes any sense. And so there's just certain things that I address and certain things that I don't. Anything that affects my safety or my well-being, I will typically address. Like if I think that she's saying something that's inflammatory, that's going to get me hate emails being sent to my nonprofit again, people threatening me, people threatening to burn down my nonprofit. If I think that it's going to lead to that, I'll head it off and say something. But for the most part, I just share my story and just tell my story about what happened. But yeah, I mean, it just blows my mind. And, she tells everybody she won. And I don't know if you've gone to her lawyer's website, but I'll actually send you the link. Her lawyer has a wall of fame that has all of his wins listed on his website. You know what lawsuit is not listed on that hall of wins?
Hold on. Give me a minute.
I'll send it to you when I get off the live. I'll actually DM it to you. So she talks about that, and she talks about how she has this relationship with her lawyer. And I heard her on a live, and if I heard her correctly, I could have misheard her.
What's his name? Nick?
But
Nick
Prashal, I think it's pronounced Prashal. I don't know. He was just my attorney and I had a different name for him that rhymed with Nick. So. Yeah. But it's just interesting because she tells everybody how she still has this relationship with her attorney. She said something about he texted her. Now, I don't know if she was talking about her attorney, but that's what it sounded like, where she said that he texted her and was asking her about the Afro Man case. And he said to her that it kind of reminded her of the case like with me. And I'm like, no, he did not. That lawyer cannot stand her. Dodge. I sat in a deposition for hours watching the dynamics between her attorney and her. Her attorney hates her.
I was about to say, you're talking about her attorney.
Yeah, her attorney hates her. So I just sit here and I just laugh. I'm like, oh my God. In the meantime, while she's sitting here bragging about how she still has a relationship with her attorney, I'm getting emails from my attorney congratulating me on the award that I won for the Domestic Shelter Survivor of the Year. So I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? Oh my God. Like I said, there's some things I address and other things I just laugh at and just walk away because it's just funny to me. It's just absolutely funny to me. But like I said, and she talks about how she got that $6,000. Well, that $6,000 isn't anything special. That's common law in the state of Georgia. If somebody brings forward, I'll stop while you can go find your pen.
No, you're good. I'm wanting to turn this light.
Okay.
It's a little bright.
Okay. So in the state of Georgia, if somebody files a motion for summary judgment and whatever party loses, it's standard for them to have to pay court fees. So you pay the cost for what it brought to bring forward to that point. The lawsuit where you pay for filing fees, you pay for the deposition, things like that. But you're not paying for attorney's fees. When Sam originally came to the app and was screaming how she won, all she did was hold up the piece of paper that said I had to pay her. It didn't say how much, but people automatically assumed that I had to pay her attorney's fees, and she never corrected them. So then I went on the full campaign of going, no. That's not what happened. I did not have to pay her attorney's fees.
Thank you, Jen.
So, but she never corrected people, and that was the problem. That's why I kept hammering it through. I did not pay her attorney's fees. But the court cost, that's a standard thing. That's not something that's like spectacular. You know what I mean? It's not, that's a standard Georgia law. Okay. That's not something that's out of the ordinary. So
while we are on the subject, what was the lawsuit for?
Defamation.
Okay, defamation of your character or your...
Yeah.
Okay.
Defamation of my character. My nonprofit was not part of the lawsuit. They were not named as a plaintiff. And there was a reason for that. So...
Okay.
It was a strategic reason.
Now, who is that woman? The other woman? They were like, I guess Lorinda, was that her name?
Yeah, Lorinda Kirk was the other one, and then Tracy Corsland was the other one. There were multiple people that were... Go ahead.
I'm assuming you can talk about this, right? I mean, there's no
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, so Sam, Lorinda,
And Tracy.
yeah.
Tracy never replied to the lawsuit. So when you don't apply, or when you don't reply to the lawsuit, it's an automatic default and the other party wins. So everything that was brought forward against Tracy, she lost by default. So the counts that I brought forward against Tracy, she lost by default.
Okay. But Lorinda, where is she at now?
Lorinda disappeared. She actually, Lorinda and Sam both, at the hearing that we had in October, they told the judge that they are no longer advocates or activists in the space for domestic violence victims and survivors.
Well, I mean, were they ever? Bear, I'm pretty sure you're probably, if she hadn't already went to sleep, she's gone to sleep. I moved the chat to the window because for some reason I can't see the chat anymore. I don't know why. But good night. Love you.
Well, we can't. Thank you, Rachel,
Bye.
for coming.
Good night, Bear. Have a good night. Thank you for staying on so long.
Good night.
So, I'm sorry, I'm just petty. You know, I go right back to, okay, you had to spend $70,000. You didn't win. I'm sorry. I mean, like I said, I don't think she understands the concept of winning and losing as far as how I look at it. I mean, and even with her looking at it that way, I mean, she's always talking about money and how she's got a degree in business and finance. I'm sorry. I mean, you wasted 70 grand.
The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing.
And
well, like I said, I mean, her attorney doesn't even view it as a win, so it's not even listed on his website as a win.
I mean, think about this. I heard Sam say this herself. I mean, I can go back to November, word of mouth, from her mouth in my live stream. You know, a defamation suit is like the type of case that an ambulance chaser picks up, you know? I mean, it's just, you just find, like, if I wanted to be petty with all the shit that's happened to me, I'd go hire a lawyer, tell him, hey, I don't care if you win or lose. I just want her to have to spend the money. I mean, to me, that's a win for me, you know? But that's how I'm looking at it.
The lawyer that I hired, he's actually a litigation lawyer. Like, he litigates. He goes to trial. That's what he does. That's the type of lawyer that I hired. So there's different types of defamation lawyers that you can hire. I hired a litigation lawyer, and it's just a different type of lawyer. He just does things differently. He doesn't step into the gray area.
I love your lawyer.
He does things.
If that's the guy that was asking the questions at the deposition,
yes, that's him.
I loved him.
Yes, yes, that's him.
He
did a fantastic job.
My point is to me, it would be so much better if I knew, like, that you hired the.
No, I definitely did not hire the cheapest lawyer. I hired. And I mean, he told me up front, a defamation lawsuit are less than 20%. We knew that one of the counts for sure, the judge would find a problem with it. And that was when they said that I took money from people, because my nonprofit hadn't taken money from anybody and I could prove it. And I did prove that. And so when they said I was taking money from people, that was a statement. And that was what was left on the table. But Sam and Lorinda asked the judge to determine that I'm a public figure. And the public figure bar got raised. So then that removed that from the defamation, the defamation column, if that makes sense. So it went over into the column of a higher bar to prove that it was malicious. Now, because they had filed a motion to reconsider their motion for attorney's fees, in that second order from the judge, he called them out and told them that they were the ones in violation of Federal Rule 11 for bringing forward a frivolous motion.
And the reason that we were able, what I read in that document in your video. As far as
exactly.
What did they call it? Not court fees, but
court costs. Well, it was court fees, court costs.
It was something else. Like, literally, he basically said they didn't meet the criteria,
Right, for attorney's fees. Yeah, it was for their attorney's fees.
Thank you,
so
Jen,
in that second order,
for the whatever that is. I can't see the chat. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
So for the second order that he denied their request for attorney's fees, he cited documents that we had submitted. So every time you submit a new filing, you can introduce new evidence. So I was at that point, I was able to prove that they were acting maliciously, but by that point it was too late. But I was able to put that in front of the judge so that he saw how they were behaving maliciously, where they were deliberately saying they were trying to run out my money. Sam said that. And then Lorinda also stated that they didn't give us everything in discovery that we asked for. So the judge just handed them their ass and was like, no, you're the ones in violation of rule number 11 for bringing forward a frivolous motion. And look at what you said. So at that point, the judge knew that they were, in fact, being malicious. But again, how the court system works, by the time you get the evidence and you go through the process, there's no way to make a U-turn. Like, there's no U-turn. I mean, I could have taken it back to the appeals court and we could have gone through that whole process. But honestly, at the end of the day, I talked to my attorney about that. And I said, I don't think I want to do that because I'm not going to spend another $50,000 just for this judge to say, well, okay, we'll make some corrections with this piece of paper. And it doesn't change the outcome. It's not really going to do anything. So it's like, there's no point in it. So we just stopped it there. But I did seriously think about filing an appeal, but it was like, what's the point? It's just not really going to go anywhere at this point. So, but yeah, it was definitely an experience being on the other side of the table through that lawsuit. And that lawsuit had multiple reasons to it. One of the biggest ones was proving that something they said was defamatory, and that's what I did. And another reason was to bring to light the fraudulent behavior that goes on in the NARC Talk community and how people claim to be certified advocates, they claim to be coaches, and they don't have the background and education that they need to be in this space. And like Lorinda Kirk went bragging across social media that she has all of this nonprofit accounting experience and she can't wait to rip my nonprofit to shreds. Turns out she doesn't have any, she has no nonprofit accounting experience. So her nonprofit accounting experience, now this is another part of her deposition that I've posted it before, but I'm going to post her actual video portion of it, where he dug down into it to find out what she was talking about. And what she was talking about, she has experience working with nonprofits, not for a nonprofit. She worked for a company that was a for-profit company that sold software to a nonprofit company. So now Dodge, that's like somebody telling you that being a captain of a boat is not the same as if you did it on like live stream. So that's like saying I'm a captain of a boat and I know how to be a captain of a boat, and their only experience is working it from on a gaming system where they don't actually have experience of being on an actual boat, being a boat captain.
I saw that.
You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. It's just ridiculous.
Point blank asked her, and what's she gonna do? Perjure herself? I mean, that was, to me, that is always hilarious, because once you're on a stand, once you're in front of a judge and you're under oath, I mean, you hear a totally different story than what you hear on TikTok. And I mean, it was just,
you absolutely do.
No, I don't. No, I can't. No, I haven't. I mean,
Now,
Fucking
now,
hilarious.
now in depositions, now in our depositions, we were not in front of a judge. We were at the courthouse, but we weren't in front of the judge. It was just, we were in a room and they were recording it, video and scripting it. So it was just the lawyers and us in a room. So, but yeah, it was interesting. Just the stuff that they said. And, you know, my, my attorney caught Sam in several lies, and that'll be coming out more in more seasons that I'm going to be releasing. But it's just, it's incredible. Just, and it was funny how she caught herself in a lie. My attorney was cornering her into, he was literally just asking her questions in a way that he was kind of batting her into the corner. And then she started realizing that she was getting backed into a corner. And then she immediately started making a U-turn and correcting what she had said 20 minutes before.
I want to write this down because I like to have this shit on hand whenever I'm arguing with certain people. But I mean, if that were me in that lawsuit, my overall objective: one, okay, prove that you're trying to defame my character. Two, prove that you are not an advocate. Three, prove that I am an advocate. And I mean, well, obviously, I mean, you didn't win I guess you didn't win the lawsuit. So, I mean, her testimony, you can't, I mean, once it's on the record, it's on the record. You said it. So, I mean, you come back to TikTok or back to social media. Hold on, let me. You come back to social media, and I mean, the audience.
You can't change your story. Exactly. You can't change your story. Exactly. And that was another reason too, is that I wanted their depositions, is because I know how they are. They'll change their stories. They'll twist it around. They'll wad it up. They'll throw it in a different direction. They'll just make up all kinds of crap. And I knew if I had their deposition on record, that I could tell my story through their depositions.
Oh, Taylor, you've got content for freaking years.
I got content for like the next 10 years. I'm not going to drag it out that long, but I really do. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I am going to put all of this into my book that I'm writing, but I want to put it out on TikTok first because I want to work through any like questions or issues that people might have, because once I write the book and I publish it, I can't add to it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. It's published and it's done. So I'm using TikTok as sort of the launching pad of, here's everything that happened. And then I pay attention to the questions that are being asked in the comment section. And I make sure that I add that information into the book so that I'm answering questions that people have, as we go through it. So that's one of the reasons too, why my book's taking so long to come out, is because I'm working through that portion of it.
Do you have like the whole deposition?
Yes.
How big is it? Like,
it's huge. It's absolutely huge.
It's in absolutely video format or just printed out?
It is in video. I do have it in video format, and I do have it in paper form as well too. But the files are absolutely huge.
Yeah, so you
like I can't even
an email.
No, you can't send it in an email. It's way too big. The files are they're absolutely huge.
I mean, to read it alone would be interesting and hilarious at the same time. But man, just to like hear her voice, like I so want to hear her answering these questions that I've literally cloned her voice. I mean, I've done that with a bunch of people, but I've literally got her voice. Like the other day in a video, I had her voice reading Tracy's Black and Whites. It's fucking hilarious.
I saw that. I saw that. Well, wait till I start posting the stuff about Mac, about what she said about Mac and Brittany and that whole fiasco. I'm like, oh man.
I'm following you on here, right? If make sure you tag me in all of that shit. Like, no, you don't have to tag me. Just send it to me. That way I don't miss anything.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes the tags don't work. They don't tell you that somebody tagged you.
Yeah.
But
well, this is my main account, but that account, I think you're following me over there. That one, that's solely devoted to. You can call it a troll account. I don't care. I love having all of that information ready and available for anybody that woman ever calls stupid.
It's just people used to be afraid of them. Honestly, people were afraid of that group. Survivors were terrified, and they've run off so many people off this app. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be the last one they do this to. Everybody's going to be standing up to them by the time this lawsuit's over. Well, win or lose, people are not going to be afraid of these people anymore.
Well, I genuinely, there's a certain amount. If she were calling herself something different, it might be different. I mean, I can respect I can respect a troll. I can respect an agitator, but don't call yourself an advocate. I mean, it, when once you start doing what she does, it becomes a matter of help versus hurt. Like you're not helping anybody, and you're actually hurting future victims and survivors. So I mean, I used to say the woman was intelligent. I used to think she was intelligent, and being intelligent and just being a very good manipulator are two totally different things, because you can be dumber than a bag of bricks and a good manipulator, and you'll have somebody thinking you're intelligent. It's crazy.
Well, she's fooled a lot of people. I mean, she has really pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes. And when all of this went down in November of 2021, Sam had over 340. Okay, you there? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I was just thinking in the live that any given moment my laptop was going to crash. It was too good to be true.
Well, I was saying that when Sam started this whole smear campaign against me, it was in November of 2021, and our big account, she had she had 343,000 followers. I think that was the amount. It was right around there. It's like it was over 340,000. Before she deactivated, she had 299.3.
Well, I made this point to her because that person, and I don't know if you follow Allie Foreman or not, but she was trying to advocate for Allie, and Allie didn't want her advocacy. And at one point, she made the comment, "The future doesn't look bright for you, Allie." And I mean, if you do follow her, you know she's doing her own thing. She's not really into, you know, the exploitation of her child and her family situation. I mean, she vents about it every now and then, but for the most part, all she's doing is her content, her battling, and all that stuff. So the future does indeed look bright for Allie. Whereas I asked Sam in that live, I'm like, don't you have like a big account and that's got like 300K followers? And she's like, yeah, I don't do anything with it. In fact, I'm probably going to go deactivate it now that you've mentioned it. I mean, literally, that's not a bright future for Sam. I mean, people with big accounts like that, they're out there doing something with it, and so it doesn't surprise me that she lost a shitload of followers after that.
She was doing something with that big account. She was taking advantage of victims and survivors of abuse by pretending to be a coach and taking their money and
Now connected to iPhone.
there you go.
I'm sorry, I can still hear you whenever I do that. Let me know if it echoes though.
Yeah, she did use it. there's an echo. There we go. Yeah, no, she did use the account, but she used it to take advantage of victims and survivors by taking money and pretending to be an ethical coach. And she was actually gathering up information to use to rat those survivors if they turned on her, decided they didn't want to use her anymore, or decided that they didn't want any part of whatever it is she was doing. And I have documentation of that too. I mean, I've got stuff dating back, like I said, to 2020. She had a lot of people fooled. A lot of people fooled. And, you know, a big following does not mean that your content is safe. That's not what it means. It probably means that you're a shit show and people stop and watch it and follow you because you're a shit show, not because your content is helpful.
Well, I was just telling somebody, hold on for a second. I was just telling somebody the other day, you know, it's sad, but all of the lies and all of the drama. She was talking about Aldo, this guy over here that's been arrested or whatever. She's just literally in a live, just spitting complete bullshit, and I'm calling her out on it like so many videos. I posted so many videos that day, but this is the truth. She knows it's bullshit. She knows what she's saying is bullshit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
just that drama alone, even after you call her out on the lies, the excitement, all of that surrounding that particular topic of conversation that day is getting her that engagement that she wants. And then you turn around and you call her out, prove everything's a lie, everything is bullshit. It's nobody gives a shit. They
No.
don't care.
Well, the thing is, too, is like the thing about her. I'm going to go back to her big account for a second. On her big account, that's where a lot of her narc talk content is. And a lot of people don't realize that she's got multiple accounts where she does all this backdoor crap on. So they don't see it. It's on a completely different algorithm. Even though it's her face, she's on a completely different algorithm. So the people in the narc talk community don't see the stuff that she's doing behind the scenes. She's not really doing it behind the scenes. She is showing it, but it's on a different algorithm. It goes down a different path. So it's not, they don't intertwine. They're actually separate. And she did do a video back in December of 2021, where she was talking about war. And she talked about how she fought a war and she won. And she was acting like she was this, like she won something. She created the chaos. And she was talking about how she made all of these different communities collide. And she was the center of all of it. And that I actually believe, because she was creating the chaos. She was moving people who were, in the domestic violence community. She pushed them over into drama talk that caused a lot of problems with people's healing paths and their healing journey, and, set them back many years in some cases, because all of this content was triggering to them. And she was responsible for that. She was taking credit for all of that. That was how I took her videos. But like I said, she would deactivate those other accounts and she would do all that other horrible stuff on all these other accounts that people who were reputable in that space for domestic violence, they didn't really see what she was doing until I sued her. And then people were like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? What's happening? And then people got mad at me for suing her, and then they started realizing what was actually happening. And it was like,
that's the what does it matter account or whatever it's called.
Right, exactly. And what's interesting is that she went bragging across social media, telling everybody how, everybody in the narc talk community is, they keep reaching out to Sam and, telling her all this horrible stuff about me. When she was asked that in her deposition, she couldn't answer who it was. And she couldn't produce any evidence that anybody in the narc talk community even talked to her about me.
I want to read that whole deposition.
Trust me, it's.
I mean, I want to watch your part as well, but I mean, clearly there wasn't anything exciting to see there as far as Put it this way: you answering questions was nowhere near as juicy as her answering questions, and that's just.
Well, she chopped up my deposition to no end. I mean, she literally hacked it up pretty good. She didn't show the whole full sentence, like the way that I'm laying it out. Like you hear him answer the question, or ask the question, and then you hear her answer it, right? The only thing I'll take out is like if there's a long pause, or if the videographer says, hey, can you move your hair? It's in the way of the microphone. Or, hey, can we take a break? Or if there's some kind of background noise, like I'll kind of cut a little bit of that out so that you don't hear that stuff, and to make it a little bit shorter. But for the most part, you're hearing everything exactly how it went down, other than the long pauses, where it was silence.
I was about to say, look, when she said, and you've seen it on the video because I zoom in, but when she said, books, research, the look on her face when she's like, YouTube's really good now. Like, it's like in that split second, she realized what she just said, and the look on her face is
shit.
And I put that shit, like, I sped it up like times 3, and she's like, God, it was hilarious. No, I don't want to do a live right.
Oh, it was just, and the way that she describes like the courtroom and what happened in the courtroom, this big TV thing, this big projector came down from the ceiling, and it's like, that's not what happened. The judge did play it. There was like a screen, but it wasn't like this big grand thing. The judge basically showed our content of us being nasty and shitty to each other and told us to knock it off.
I've never heard of anything like that happening. Did the judge really like give y'all homework, make y'all go
Yes,
write
he
an
did.
essay?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Is there a copy of those essays somewhere?
No, they're not. They're not made public.
Oh,
no,
God.
they're private to the judge. But yeah, the assignment was directly to the judge. But it was interesting because right before, so leading up to the depositions, is that the reason why I switched it from wanting to do it in person to wanting to do it virtually is because during that time from April, when I said I can't wait to go to Georgia, to the time right before the depositions, I could tell that they had been in contact with the restrained party from my DVRO case, because they were posting stuff that only he knows. And they were posting this, and I'm like, oh crap. And then they started posting where my deposition was going to be. And I'm like, that's it. Go ahead and tell them exactly where I'm going to be so we can fly on a plane and go over there and watch. Are you kidding me? No. So I told my attorney, I said, look, I said, here's all their content. I said, I know that they've talked to him. And now I'm in fear for my safety that this guy's going to show up at the courthouse. And so we told the judge, hey, look, we need to do this virtually. Sam had a conniption fit, held out my video from 4 months prior to where I said I wanted to go to Georgia. Now the judge thinks I'm a liar because Sam left out all the content in between where she was actually putting me in fear for my safety. She left out all of that. What was that?
I was saying, hey to B-Flies in the...
Okay. Yeah, so she left out all of that stuff that led me to be in fear for my safety. And then what happens when I show up at the courthouse? My attorney went to go take our stuff back to the car because there were certain things we couldn't take back to the car. So I was waiting in the lobby for him. Sam and her husband come walking in. He gets within maybe 2 feet of my face, yells at the top of his lungs, "Good morning." They block the exit to where I can't get out or get away from them. And then finally they leave. I'm freaking out about what happened because they just cornered me in the lobby. And I told my attorney what happened. Then my attorney told their attorney what happened. And then the next thing we know is that we all had to go into the courtroom, and Vinny was in the courtroom, and the judge, everybody introduced themselves. And then her attorney said to the judge, he said, Oh, Your Honor, by the way, this is Miss Adamo's husband, Vincent Adamo. And he stood up and he saluted the judge, and the judge was like, sit down. And if you go watch one of Sam's videos, she very clearly states that she did all the research that she could on that judge. Even the fact that she went back to court cases that he had done where he was helping veterans. So she tried to play on the judge's veteran, emotions by bringing her husband in full uniform and putting him in front of the judge. And he was like, sit down. But Sam keeps telling everybody that happened, that the confrontation happened in the courtroom. I never said it happened in the courtroom. I said it happened in the lobby. So that's what happened there. So she leaves out a lot of context when she tells people things.
I thought, it's funny you read my mind, because I was just about to talk about that. I was just about to ask, because I had heard that happened, and I was going to ask if y'all ever went before a judge at all, because you were talking about depositions and all this stuff. But I heard that, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. And anybody that's ever been in the military, I mean, I almost think that Sam just scripted that shit for Vinny, because certainly Vinny knows that you do not salute indoors. I mean, if you've seen the movie A Few Good Men, at the end the guy salutes, but I mean, you don't salute indoors. You just don't do it. I mean, it's courtesy and fucking etiquette, okay? So, I mean, for him to do that, I don't know if the judge was a veteran or whether the judge just did, work with veterans and stuff like that, but I mean, I can so see that judge saying, "Look, sit down. I see you. Sit down."
He just didn't. He didn't want anything to do with it. And then Sam posted a video. Of course, it was a year later, where she was talking about how when the judge played all of our video clips, and mine were mild compared to theirs. Like, they're flipping me off in the camera. They're calling me the C word, the B word. They're saying all this horrible stuff. And my videos are just more like taking little jabs and just like making little funny videos and little memes and stuff. It wasn't nearly what they posted, not even close. And so Sam had posted a video and Lorinda had commented on the video, but Sam had said in the video that her and Lorinda got in a lot of trouble with Vinny because he was pissed that he showed up at that hearing, and then he looked bad in that hearing because of what she did in her behavior and her conduct. And he got mad at her.
Well, I mean, conduct, and I've said this before, I mean, on Sam's behalf, conduct unbecoming doesn't apply to a spouse, but I mean, conduct unbecoming kind of applies to a spouse, I mean, and you can take that, it's catch 22. I mean, no, you don't fall under the UCMJ, but I mean, damn, I mean, at
It
some
was in
point
front of a
somebody's gonna
federal
say.
judge. It was in front of a federal judge.
And that's the thing. Now, when you said, okay, when you said you were cornered and he said good morning, were y'all in the courtroom?
No, we were in the lobby, and my attorney was not there, and neither was her attorney. But she said, well, that wouldn't even happen because our attorneys are there. She knows damn well our attorneys were not in the lobby. It was just me. It was her husband and her.
Well, let me ask you this. When when the attorney introduced him as Lieutenant Colonel Yosemite Sam or whatever, did he uh did he say the same thing? Good morning, sir. Did he say that?
I don't remember exactly what he said. I remember he stood up and I saw his arm go up to like his head. So I'm assuming that was a salute.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the judge probably thought that was the most ridiculous thing he'd ever said. All he needed to do to show proper etiquette as far as his military standing, especially if he's, in the military, when you're indoors, first of all, your cover's off. So you don't salute unless you're wearing your cover, but I mean, you're indoors, okay? The
Yeah.
proper greeting, and it's only for somebody that outranks you, which he was probably showing respect to the judge in the fact that, I mean, in this particular situation, he outranks him. But you literally both, you basically embarrassed yourself. Trying to showboat is what you did.
Yeah. Well, and the judge saw right through it. I mean, her attorney was clearly showboating, and that judge wasn't having anybody's crap. He was pissed off at the attorneys. He was pissed off at us. That judge was mad. That is the one thing that Sam and I agree on, is that judge hated us. He hated us. He absolutely hated us. That is the only thing her and I agree on. That judge can't stand us. So every time that she would act up and say something, I would say, "You better be careful, or I'm gonna have my lawyer contact your lawyer, and we're gonna go back in front of that judge." And she'll post a video. I don't want to go back in front of that judge. He hates us. Like I said, that is literally the only thing her and I agree on, is that judge hated us.
Let me ask you this while we're on the subject. What's the timeline? Like, what year was this?
So the smear campaign happened in November of 2021. The lawsuit was filed first week of March of 2022. And the lawsuit didn't finalize, I think, until 2023. I think it was July of 2023.
Okay. So,
Or I'm sorry, maybe it was 2024. Like it took a couple years to go through the system.
I can probably, let me see if I can bring this up real quick.
Yeah, the timelines all blur together for me. when it got to the end, I was like, ah.
All right, I know it's down towards the bottom. Hold on, let me look. Let me see if I can find it. Bear and I just merged our phones, so I've got all of her pictures too. It's going to be impossible to find. But I want to say Tracy's court case, most recent court case, was it? Yeah, it was in 2024, I think, or maybe 25.
I think it was like at the end of 2024. I think it was at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025.
So
Yeah.
2024, it was in 2024. Okay, but the day that she was supposed to be in court, she was actually in my live stream. This is the only reason I know about this. Okay, but apparently there was another hearing like early on, I guess. What my question is okay, you said it was the defendants were Sam, Lorinda, and Tracy. Tracy didn't show up, so Tracy, I mean, lost by default. Okay.
Yeah, she lost by default.
So what happened? And I hate that. I mean, it seems like every time this subject comes up, they make it about Dan, who, I mean, he unalived himself.
Right.
What happened during that time? Because at one time, Sam was literally like on the attack. She was like attacking the hell out of Tracy, and now all of a sudden, they're best friends.
Yeah, I honestly think it was staged. That's just my feeling about it. Because Sam has said in lives that she didn't want to have to pay for Tracy in the lawsuit. So that's probably why I believe that she forbid Tracy from replying to the lawsuit, because the stuff that Tracy did and said was pretty bad. Tracy tried to hack my nonprofit organization, and I posted the predator's IP address. I didn't know it was Tracy for sure. I didn't for surely know it was her. I had a feeling it might have been her, but I wasn't sure. And she tried to hack my nonprofit multiple times, trying to get information and to hurt survivors. So there's a on my nonprofit's website I've always had, if you tried to hack us, we're going to have your IP address and we will fight back. And
I remember seeing something about this.
Yeah, I will post the predator's IP address. If you are trying to hurt victims and survivors, I will protect survivors. And I will post your IP address to find out who you are, and I will come for you. Leave us alone. Stop trying to do this. Well, Tracy thought she was going to test the boundaries, and she found out the hard way that I'm not screwing around. Don't be doing that kind of shit. So, but Tracy used it as an opportunity to cry victim, that, oh my God, she doxed a survivor's IP address. What survivor goes around trying to hack nonprofit organizations? I mean, seriously. I don't know if any survivor would do that.
I want to go to you. Like, this is like making me want to, like, it's like wanting to go back and watch a series over again and shit. Like, this is making me want to go back and just watch everything from the beginning to the end. But, so do you think that, how does that work? I mean, you filed a lawsuit against Tracy. She was a defendant. She doesn't get representation. Uh, I mean, via Sam. So did she? I mean, in essence, she lost the lawsuit.
Right. She lost by
She
default
didn't
because
lose it, but she lost by default. Okay.
yeah, she lost by default. Yeah.
Did Sam's attorney represent Lorinda?
Yes, they both he represented both of them at the same time.
I got you. Yeah, so Sam probably had to fit the bill.
No, they split the bill. They split the bill. See, the thing is that even though Tracy didn't have money to fight the lawsuit, Tracy is very good with gathering information. Like, she could have pulled her weight in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could have helped in another way. Like, they didn't have to ice her out. But I think the reason that they iced her out is because they know damn well that Tracy's a liar. And Tracy made up a bunch of shit. And Tracy did some horrible things.
Okay, so
that they probably would have lost a lawsuit if Tracy would have responded.
Let me interrupt you real quick. Okay, so when you say something was staged, you're not saying Sam's accusations against Tracy were staged.
I think they were, honestly. I think they were. I think it was for show. I think it was for show because Tracy posted a video saying, "I'm going to call Rachel's attorney and I'm going to tell him what I have." So I think it was just all staged, and I think Tracy was trying to use it as an opportunity to get information from my lawyer.
So you don't think, and I don't know if you know about all this, but as far as Sam making the video back then saying that Tracy created fake accounts and exploited her own children and other people's children, you don't think that actually happened?
No, I think that that's true, but I think that the fight between Sam and Tracy was staged. See, Sam knows exactly how Tracy is. She knows exactly what she's dealing with. So it shouldn't have been no surprise to her, any of that stuff. So I just think that public display, honestly, I think it was staged. I could be wrong, but I just think the timing of it is just weird. And, how they became friends afterwards. It's odd to me. It's just odd. Like if somebody's costing you money and somebody caused you to get sued, why would you be friends with them? That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Sam made the comment like not too long ago speaking about Amanda, whatever her name is. She said, I'm not getting involved with that. I'm not dealing with another case of people like suing people or getting in a courtroom and shit like that. It's almost like she definitely regrets like what happened as far as the court case is concerned. But
Sam does or Amanda?
No, Sam regrets it. I mean, if Sam had it to do over again, I think she wouldn't have.
Well, and here's the thing is if she would have come to my attorney or gone to her attorney and said, "Look, I did some horrible things. These are the things I said. This is what I did. How can we just make this go away?" Honestly, Dodge, I would have dropped it. If she would have admitted that she did some horrible things, I'm not even talking about an apology. I'm just talking about admitting. If she would have admitted it early on, I would have dropped the lawsuit and said, "You pay for your attorney's fees. I pay for my attorney's fees. We move on. We just get past this," right?
I'll keep talking. I'm still here. I'll be right back, but I'm listening. You all right? Need some water?
Yeah, I'm getting water. Hey, buddy.
So I wanna hold on. Question about a separate situation. We pretty much verified your
I can barely hear you. Can you change can you turn up your volume or something? I can barely hear you.
Let me see. What about now?
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So now that we verified your credentials and shit, this is a totally separate situation, but the relationship between Tracy, Sam, and Paris. Okay, so let me give you a I don't know how much you follow this shit because I don't know how involved you are with our side of TikTok, but so being an advocate, just say for somebody that was S8 or somebody that was raped. Okay, this person says this person raped me. Okay, Sam Sam basically calls her a liar.
Right.
How can somebody be friends? Literally, I mean, they're in lives together all the time. And somebody told me that the reason that they're still friends is because Paris is afraid of Sam, but they're like, I mean, they're always in lives together. I'm assuming they call themselves friends. How can you be friends with somebody that literally told you were lying about an essay or a grade? Because
It
that
doesn't make any
relationship,
sense.
well, between Sam and Tracy and Sam and Parrish, it's cringy to the point of creepiness.
Well, they're
It
using
doesn't
each
it
other.
doesn't make sense. Well, that's what I
I
was
think they're
trying
using
to
each
get at.
other is what it is. So now Paris, this is where it gets interesting. So Paris was originally a witness in my case. Then she started doing some fuck shit behind the scenes, and we cut her from being a witness. She didn't know that, but she was cut. And if we would have gone to trial, we would have submitted an updated witness list, and she would have been cut from it because she was doing some fuck shit behind the scenes. But I actually posted on my backup page because Paris tried coming at me with some sideways bullshit. And I'm like, Paris, that's not what happened. And she posted a video talking about how like she didn't have any involvement of contacting me, crying about how Sam was doxing her and posting, court documents, harassing her. She was harassing a witness in a federal case. And so I posted the entire chat where Paris contacted me saying that Sam's doing all this stuff. I need help, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, honey. We'll try to work out what we can. In the meantime, she's going on a different app telling Sam that she wants to burn her life down and telling her to take pills. And that gets put in front of my lawyer after after Paris was crying to me saying Sam was harassing her. So then I take that to my lawyer. My lawyer takes it to her lawyer. Then her lawyer hands us the stuff that Paris is doing behind the scenes. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so, yeah, she was gone. She was gone after that. But Paris tried to switch it around and make it look like I was the one pushing for it. She was like siding with Sam, like I was the one pushing for it. No, I wasn't. She was the one calling me crying that Sam was harassing her. So I posted the videos and said, Paris, that's not what happened. And you know that's not what happened. And so she's left me alone ever since I posted that about that. But she was also Paris was also on a live, and I posted this as well too on my backup account where she was talking about, and I just happened to catch it at the right time, where she was talking about about relations, if you will, and saying that I'm trying to be careful because of TikTok's things. But she was talking about relations, and she said, as long as it can get hard, that's all that matters, and just get it hard and blah, blah, blah. And then she's talking about like coercive controlling a man while she's also complaining about being coercive controlled and being hard by someone else. And it's like, you just went online and you're talking about how it's okay to treat men this way, but you don't like it when they treat you that way. So what are you doing? Like, this is bad behavior. It's like men can be hard too. And that's actually on my backup. I actually say it better in the video. Probably not doing it justice in the
No,
live, but
I'm getting what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. I was like, Paris, I believed you. And then for you to turn around and do this conduct, this is disgusting. Like, you know that this behavior is wrong, and yet you're why are you doing this? It just blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind to hear that come from her mouth. I mean, I know she says some raunchy shit sometimes, but I mean, it was just like, are you kidding me? It's just unreal.
Well,
The hypocrisy is just, I can't.
there was, I suck at certain things like FOIAs and shit. Bear and I know nothing about FOIAs, but for a split second, and I'm talking about TikTok time. So, I mean, for a split second, Paris actually had us believing that she was some kind of professional as far as the legal system is concerned, and we found out later that just wasn't the case. But
No.
but it was all because she had done a FOIA. She had FOIA'd something, and she had sent us back. She had given us some information, and she's got Bear and I thinking she's this great legal mind and shit. But I truly believe that woman is she's just dumber than a bag of bricks. I mean, you probably saw the video where she was in a live trying to make Sam and somebody else think that these two pictures were the same.
I saw
Don't
that.
these
I
It
did
was
see that.
fucking ridiculously, hilariously ridiculous. Fuckingless is what it was. But I mean, there's nothing about that woman that I respect or that I would take seriously. I mean, she's just a
Yeah.
there's no word to describe what she is. But I mean, I take that into consideration when I'm asking myself what why she's with Sam, I mean, because I mean, she's dumber than a bag of bricks, and Sam basically called her out for lying about that shit. So I mean, somebody's got a hold of something, or somebody's got a vested interest in keeping that amicability. I mean,
I just think
I say the same thing about Tracy. I mean, and other people have said it. Tracy must have something on Sam for them to have this damn freaking symbiont relationship they've all got going on. It's just it boggles me. It boggles my
well,
brain.
well, Tracy did say that when they got in that pretend argument, that I think it was a pretend argument, she did say that I'm going to contact Rachel's lawyer.
That's fucking hilarious.
Well, I'm sure she has something on her, but they all have dirt on each other. They're all dirty to each other, and as far as I'm concerned, they can all stay over there and be dirty to each other and roll in the mud like little piggies and do whatever they're going to do, because I don't want any part of it. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, when it comes to Sam, it's like, I don't really give a flying, what she does, just as long as she stays the F away from me, my business, and my life, and just stays out of my life and just stays away from me. Just stay over there. Stay over there.
Well, do you think? I mean, clearly, I mean, I think I've heard Sam say it. Her and Brittany are best friends, but Brittany seems to be a totally different genre. Like, I mean, there's obsession, but Brittany Brittany just seems to be more tactical with her shit than
I don't
Sam.
know. I think, honestly, I think they're two peas in a pod. I really do.
Well,
I
there's
think it's,
definitely that, but I mean, one they both got perks, they both got quirks.
yeah, yeah. Well, and they feed off of each other. They feed off of the toxicity, and they feed into each other's
Fantasies.
unresolved trauma.
Hmm.
So that's I really don't have a whole lot of interaction with Brittany. Brittany's posted a few videos here and there, being just completely ignorant and stupid. But honestly, I just don't. Her issue with me was with Mac. And, I've said it many times before that, when you say that somebody's dangerous, you don't taunt them, you don't interact with them, you don't provoke them, you don't push them. If you know somebody has the capabilities of being a domestic violence abuser, you don't provoke them, especially if the victim is still there with them. So if she really thought that there was an issue, why did she keep pushing, poking, pushing, and poking? Advocates know this. You don't poke, you don't push, you leave it alone, and you get them support and you get them help. And that was my biggest issue, was that, Mac had posted many times about how he was essayed by his grandfather when he was a child. Well, there's a lot of studies on this that show that, especially little boys, when they go through that, and if they don't get the right therapy, and they don't get the right tools in their toolbox, more often than not, they turn to a life of crime. And that's unfortunately what's happened with Mac. Mac is a statistic. And while I can understand why Mac is in the position he is in, I do not excuse his behavior at all. And I never have. And that was where they couldn't differentiate between what I was saying and what they were feeling, if that makes sense. Like they felt a certain way already about Mac, but I'm over here on the other side saying, well, there's these issues. It's not an excuse for his behavior, but it certainly is an explanation for it. And I would never excuse abusive behavior, ever. And I can maybe provide an explanation as to why it happens, but I would never excuse the behavior. People need to work on themselves and they need to get better on both sides of the fence. And, but it's just interesting. So that was the biggest thing with Brittany was the Mac, was the whole Mac issue. And again, they created a fake account. They created a fake account using this man's name.
The only thing, I don't know, the only reference I have for Mac is what I've been told by Brittany. I don't know. I know there are a lot of people out there that, I mean, think Mac just did some really, really heinous shit, and that's all fine and good. I could understand how they might think that you're advocating for Mac or that you're on his side when really and truly all it is you're looking at things from all sides. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, and all of a sudden I'm taking up for somebody. No, I'm just offering a different perspective. But with Brittany, it just from her own words and just from her actions this past September, it almost sounds like she accidentally caused some things to happen with Mac. I mean, when I say accidentally, she was being malicious. She was doing all this shit, but it inadvertently led to him winding up in prison somehow. I mean, she likes to brag that she had a little bit to do with that. And then this past September, she was trying to recreate that situation with Craig. Like,
Yeah. I think she got a high off of it, off of what happened to Mac and how it just kind of played out that way. I think she got a high off of it. So she wanted to go after somebody else. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just, you know, I don't really know Brittany that well. And I really honestly don't really know Sam all that well either. But, that's just my observations. My opinion is what it is. And, some of my opinions are based on facts. Some of it's based on opinions that, are through observation that I could have missed something in observation. And I'm very much aware of that. And I'm aware that, there's probably some blind spots in some of it. But at the same time, what I don't understand is that, again, if you hold yourself out as an advocate or supporting domestic violence victims and survivors, why are you provoking somebody who you think is an abuser? Why are you provoking this person? They cause more domestic violence situations than they prevent them. Advocates prevent domestic violence. Like, we try to prevent it from happening. They're trying to cause it to happen so they can hold it out and say, see, look, I was right. That's not an advocate. And that's not an agitator.
that's
And it's
something
not
that
an
I heard.
activist.
That's something that I heard Sam say yesterday or the day before. And I think she's either picked it up from hearing me say it or even picked it up from hearing Boo say it. I think Boo's originally said it. He was like, you know what, fuck all of y'all. I mean, do I want Dodge to be what y'all are accusing him of? Absolutely not, because that means if he is, then someone got hurt. And y'all literally would rather somebody get hurt just to
Mhm.
feed your
To be
drama.
right. To be
And
right.
Sam recently said that regarding somebody else. So I mean, it's exactly what you're saying. If you know that person has the potential to be this, why provoke it? I mean,
Right.
it's almost like you want it to happen, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, you want them to come unhinged. You want them to do what you're or be what you're accusing them of being. You're trying to create that situation.
Now I was around for some of the Mac stuff, not all of it, but for some of it. Like I would go into lives and I would watch lives, and Mac would repeat what somebody said to him. He would repeat it verbatim, and he would kind of tell his story the way that he tells his story, and they would chop up the live to make it look like he was saying something that he wasn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
Sam.
I actually saw the live myself. It's like I saw what was happening. Now I'm not saying that he didn't go into another live and maybe do some, fuck shit somewhere else, but the one that I saw that they used to chop up, that's not what happened. You know what I mean? It was like that's not what happened. He was explaining to people what others were saying to him, and he was repeating it.
This past October, I was in a live with Sam, and she asked me, this was a joke, but I mean, she asked me this question. She said, "Do you ever look back? Do you ever go back and look back at some of your videos and think, oh my God, did I really say that?" And I replied, "Yeah, every time I'm in a courtroom." And it's the truth. I mean, it's like they take everything, they cut it, they clip it, and they want you to look like, the heinous individual and shit. But I mean, I think a lot of what happened, and this is just speculation because I wasn't there, but I think a lot of what happened with Mac could have been exactly that. Him saying something in a live, repeating something somebody said, only they're clipping it to make it sound like he's saying it.
Right. That
It's
he was
kind of
saying
like
it about somebody else. Yeah.
what they did with Joe Biden back one of his speeches or whatever. He was quoting somebody or repeating something, and they made it sound like he was saying it. I
It's
don't remember
funny.
what it was,
Actually,
but
both sides of the political aisle do that to each other.
oh yeah. And that's all it is. That's all messy talk and drama talk is people wanting to be a lot more important than what they are, and I don't want to be that important. Somebody left a comment on one of my videos. It was like a malicious comment, and oh wait, somebody just said, I don't know who this person was, but she left a comment. She's like, "Oh my God, this guy's still around," and I'm like, I mean, it's hell being famous. Good God, I've got all these people out here that know who I am, and I ain't got no fucking clue who you are. I mean,
we we call that public figure problems. It was so funny because I kept telling people, I said, Sam and Lorinda had me determined to be a public figure after they ran around social media telling everybody I was a nobody. They wanted a judge to determine I was a somebody. They actually paid money to have a judge determine that I'm a somebody. And then she went bragging across social media how she's telling everybody, we proved in our court case that she is an advocate. It's like, are you hearing yourself? How is that a bad thing?
like I said, I mean, I don't think they understand the concept of winning because really and truly, I mean, yeah, you're in a courtroom in real life, but all this shit is coming back to TikTok, and now you've got sworn statements under oath, basically giving your opponent everything they need to like destroy your credibility, your reputation. I mean, like I said, I don't know who the Lorinda person was, but I laughed my ass off when they asked her those questions. No,
And Sam wasn't alive. I actually posted this clip on my backup. Sam wasn't alive talking about how Lorinda dog walked my attorney, and I was like, did she, or did my attorney back her up into a corner?
I loved your attorney.
Oh yeah, Andrew. And it was so funny. They thought Andrew was a little guy. Like I knew Andrew was like 6'3", 6'4", I think. I mean, he's tall. They kept calling him this little guy, and then he shows up. They're like, oh shit.
I don't know who it was that was questioning Tracy at her court hearing, but I mean that was hilarious to me. I mean, literally, they're asking her about a video she just posted that day in the
Oh,
courtroom, and
that
she's
was the
saying,
judge. That was the judge.
well, she's saying, I don't recall or whatever. But then when he says, you were obviously mistaken, she's like, no, I wasn't mistaken. No, that's what happened. And I'm like,
He was reaming her.
that was the judge asking her that?
That was the judge.
I mean, he literally said it twice. Let me remind you what perjury is. I love that. I don't know who I got that video from, but it was fucking hilarious. Kudos
Yeah,
to them.
Jade.
That was
Yeah, that was definitely a good one. I have a lot of those older videos in my repertoire of stuff to like pull out and be like, oh yeah, what about this?
well, it was both. I always ask this at the end of lives. I'm like, or I always say this. I hope y'all found this both entertaining and informative, and that's exactly what those videos were. It was like hilarious to watch, but also just so informative.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's, and there's so much more with my lawsuit. I won't go into it. It's way too deep to go into this late. But there's a lot. There's some really dark shit that went on during that lawsuit, and I'll be covering that more in the series. But it's some pretty bad stuff. I mean, that attorney was just because something is legal doesn't mean it's morally ethical, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was some pretty bad shit that went on. It was pretty bad, and I got proof of all of it too. So that'll be fun to go through all of that again. But yeah, it like I said before, I'll send you that website link.
Yeah, send it to me.
Her lawyer doesn't even recognize it as a win.
Yeah, send it to me. I'm gonna reset and switch back to my laptop. I think I got it fixed. I hope I got it fixed.
I'm
I'm
actually
trying to.
gonna get off because it's getting late, so I'm gonna do my thing. So if you want to stay on and chat with other people, that's fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. But before I go to bed, I will send you that link so that you have that and you can look at that.
Okay, do me a favor. Just send it to the Bank of Stupidity. Uh, the Y'all Money account or the Dodge account, the one that I've been messaging you on. Send it to that one. That way, I've got everything over there.
All right, I'll send it there. All
Thank
right,
you so much for coming up.
oh, you're welcome. Have a good night.
All right, good night. Anybody anybody got any questions, concerns, safety issues, prayer requests before I reset? We're coming right back. I don't think any of my people are still up. I have been paying attention to who's been in and out though. I love that woman. I love her content. And it's not just because I have a vested interest. I really enjoy that shit. Y'all should go check that shit out. It's like reading a freaking soap opera of espionage or something. I'm still up because of morning sickness. That's right, you're pregnant now, aren't you? Congratulations. Michelle, I'm gonna reset. We'll be right back. If you want to chat, if you're just, I'm all excited for some reason. Anyway, we'll be right back. Love y'all.